A man named John Brown led a midnight attack in Kansas, and by morning, 5 men were dead. Kansas was bleeding in the mid-1850s, a deadly struggle over its future. Would it be admitted to the Union as a free state or a slave state? This debate caused widespread violence, raids, assaults, and brutal murders. It cemented its place in history, becoming forever known as Bleeding Kansas. Much of the violence centered along the Kansas-Missouri border. People didn't come there just to settle the land. They came to decide what it would become. Pro-slavery settlers crossed in from Missouri. Anti-slavery settlers derived from the north. Each side formed its own government, its own capital, and its own constitution. This wasn't just an uprising. It was a civil war already underway. Each side armed, each side ready, and neither side willing to back down. This wasn't politics. It was pure violence. Homes burned, families murdered. Kansas had spiraled into lawlessness. Violence wasn't random, it was organized. Raids were planned, retaliation was expected, and every attack made the next one more likely. Neighbors turned on neighbors, and with no real law to stop it, the violence only grew. From 1854 to 1861, 56 political killings took place, all of them documented, and in the middle of it all was a man named John Brown. After years of financial struggle, he finally turned his full attention to abolition and to Kansas. He moved there with his sons to join the struggle. He wasn't a politician. He wasn't interested in compromise. John Brown believed in two things, the word of God and abolition, and he was willing to honor both in blood. And in 1856, something happened that pushed him further. The town of Lawrence was attacked. Pro-slavery forces moved in, destroying buildings, smashing printing presses, and sending a message. To many, it was just another act of violence. To John Brown, it was something else. Proof that words were over, that this wouldn't be decided with debate or compromise, but with action. Brown and his followers were enraged by the sacking of Lawrence. Then came word of something else. Brutal caning of anti-slavery Senator Charles Sumner on the Senate floor pushed them even further over the edge, and it all came to a head on the night of May 24th. Under the cover of darkness, John Brown led his 4 sons along with a small group of men to the home of James P. Doyle. They ordered Doyle and his 3 sons out of the house. The youngest was just 16 years old. The youngest, just 16, was spared after his mother pleaded he had nothing to do with the pro-slavery cause. Doyle and his 2 sons were executed with broadswords. Doyle was still alive, and John Brown finished him off with a single shot from a gun. Next was the home of Allen Wilkinson. Brown's men ordered him outside, stabbing him and slashing him, and killing him. Then they reached the home of James Harris. Inside were 3 guests that night, one of them the brother of a pro-slavery militant. 2 of the men were spared, as they had no relation to the man they were looking for, but William Sherman, brother of that pro-slavery activist, was led down to the creek and killed with swords. By morning, 5 men were dead. The violence of Kansas had crossed a new line. But John Brown wasn't finished. He believed God had called him to end the injustice of slavery, and he wouldn't stop until he succeeded or died trying. In 1859, he set his sights on something bigger. Harper's Ferry, Virginia, a federal armory. His plan was simple: seize the weapons, arm enslaved people, and ignite a massive uprising. Under the cover of darkness, Brown and his men moved in. The first man killed was a free black man, shot by one of Brown's raiders while trying to see what was going on. This only upset the townspeople, not inspired them. They went on to capture the armory, they cut telegraph lines, secured bridges, and took hostages. But the uprising never came. The raid didn't end that night. John Brown and his men held out in the engine house until the morning of October 18th. Then the U.S. Marines, led by none other than Robert E. Lee, stormed the engine house. When it was over, 10 raiders were dead, 5 escaped, 7 more were captured, tried, and executed, Brown being among them. In the moment of the raid, many saw him as a madman, but during his trial, his words began to change that. December 2nd, 1859, John Brown was executed for treason. Before his execution, he left the final statement: I, John Brown, am now quite certain that the crimes of this guilty land will never be purged away but with blood. I had, as I now think, vainly flattered myself that without very much bloodshed, it might be done. John Brown's raid, and the days that followed it at trial, became a spark that helped ignite the war and change the country forever. For more stories like this, please like, follow, and subscribe.